Like, you have to look at the body of work that someone has, not just the degrees that they have.
So I ask all my guests if they, in online media, do you consider yourself a journalist? Because there's journalists and then there's edutainers, and I'm
Yeah.
perfectly happy with somebody who's just making the news more digestible. But then there are people who take it a step further and check their sources and do fact checking and whatever. And where do you fall on that? Do you think you're a journalist or more of an edutainer, somewhere in the middle?
Well, it's a different question if you'd asked me like a couple years ago when I was still working at Newsbroke, which was the show that we started off, AJ Plus, which was like a deep dive, John Oliver, Sam B-esque, like 10 minutes on a particular issue. That was thoroughly fact checked because I had a team. So I had a producer and, a copy editor, fact checker. Like, I had editors who would like help me. I mean, they wouldn't really help me craft the angle. I was like the head writer and the host, but when I worked for AJ Plus, for sure. Now I think there is a responsibility to make sure what you're reporting and saying is accurate, but I am relying on other people's reporting to do my show, the Bituation Room podcast. Subscribe, everybody. I'm almost at 50K subscribers at Franny
Nice.
Fio on. Thank you. It's an important but small milestone. At Franny Fio on YouTube. But I've never heard edutainer. I guess I've heard edutainment, but I didn't realize there was an on the end of that. I definitely think I am not a journalist at this point. That's why I say I'm a correspondent. I've worked for National Geographic, done a number of stories for them. I have had a special on MSNBC where I was a correspondent. Rarely have I been in the field breaking the story, but I've been to conducting the interviews, producing the segments and whatnot. But yeah, so I think that journalism word, I mean, God, journalists have been through enough. They deserve that word. I don't consider myself a journalist.
Um, how do you strike such a pitch perfect balance between humor and covering serious topics? You cover very serious topics, and you do it in a way that goes beyond making it digestible. It's informative. And I'm also finding myself laughing at things that I normally wouldn't laugh at on my own. I need somebody to help me with that. I need someone to
Yeah.
assist me in finding the humor in things. How do you do that? Is it natural, or is it partially scripted? Is it totally scripted? Sometimes it feels very natural, but how do you do that all the time?
Well, sometimes I don't. I mean, I think that's the important thing is finding your voice. Initially when I was, I do stand-up comedy. I don't talk about politics throughout my entire set at stand-up. I talk about being a mom. I talk
Mhm.
about my husband. I talk about, the Barbie movie. I talk about random shit. And you can't just hit them all the time with the politics the way, our lovely fans and followers here online who like want to pay attention to stuff. But um thank you, number one. That's a very nice thing of you for you to say. And number two is I think that I just have to be me. And I think the way I come across, and if people sort of watch me enough, they know where I'm coming from. And I shouldn't have to ask anyone's permission to be silly or to make a joke. You just do it. Just be yourself. And for me, this is so me. Like, I can't, you know, and it's really hard because it's hard to find people you really vibe with. And I love going on the Majority Report because I feel like Sam and Emma very much are that vibe. Um, I think John Idarola on the Damage Report absolutely gets the vibe as well. We can play off each other, but it's few and far between. I think it's so important for leftists to take ourselves less seriously because we're already talking about such serious stuff that if we are always serious, it's just for me, a really strict, um, you know, uh, like whatever, like what are the crazy suits called? I apologize.
A straitjacket?
Yeah, it's a strict straitjacket to have to always be 150% serious and sincere and and like I am the smartest in the room. I think it's a lot easier to say, I know I'm not the smartest. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to say something. And I say things all the time that offend people. You know, I made a joke about, I don't know, maybe made a joke about vegans the other day. Someone got mad at me. I fat shame Trump all the time. People get mad at me. Fuck that guy. I don't give a shit. He's a fat piece of shit. You know, like, love fat people, embrace it. I love, like, yes, Donald Trump is disgusting. But like, so it's just being comfortable to be yourself, offend the people you're going to offend and not care. And I think that sometimes on the left, we can get really, really bogged down with who we might be hurting or offending. But all of my humor and comedy, and if people know me, know that I am punching up, not down. If I make a mistake, I absolutely admit it. But I'm not here to only tiptoe and to say, we can't be silly, we can't be irreverent, we can't make off-color jokes. Because here's the thing, the right loves that shit. Now I'm going to go on my diatribe, get on my soapbox. The right is so obsessed with being, we're not PC, we're going to make the stupid joke. And it's like, I think being PC is just being respectful, number one. But I also think that if we give the public a choice as leftists between being perfect and being yourself, 99.9% of people are going to be like, well, I'd like to be myself. You know what I mean? I don't think I can be perfect. And so I think sometimes we hold one another to these unrealistic standards. And part of that is also sort of killing the like humor inside of you, because nothing is funny. Everything's awful. And I just think that's a losing strategy, not just like spiritually losing, but it's a losing strategy politically, movement based. We're never going to make our movements, we're never going to make these struggles, different struggles for justice, exciting and welcoming enough if we take each other way too seriously and we are always constantly looking for each other's faults. It's just fucked.
How do you feel when Trump uses that excuse, "I was just kidding"? Like, he says something so fucked up, and then, you know, everyone gets mad. He waits till they get mad, and he goes, "Oh, I was just kidding. It's a joke. Lighten up. It's not me, it's you." As somebody, you know, it's like, this is your craft, not just being funny, but knowing how to balance it with serious topics. How does that feel to you when he does that?
I feel, you know what's, maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't heard him, Donald Trump, say explicitly he's joking. I'm kidding. I've heard other people on his behalf say that he was just kidding.
That's true.
That
That's most of the time, that's what happens, yeah. Mhm. Maybe
right,
he's done it, like, once, but
which is so at sort of the, like, the insidious brilliance of Donald Trump is his ability to just say the thing, be the racist, be the Nazi, and then have everyone else interpret it as he's just kidding. But he is, I mean, and I've done a lot of stand up. I've seen um you know, edgelord comics go up there and do some edgelord joke that they think is funny because it's misogynist or racist or homophobic or, you know, making fun of like the homeless or whatever it is. And sometimes it's so egregious and they get the laugh because people are so uncomfortable or they can't believe that person said the thing. I think Trump really traffics in getting a laugh because he says the thing. His right-wing pundits and, you know, Fox News, Newsmax, whomever will make excuses for him. Oh, he's joking. Oh, come on. But then secretly, his base and they believe what they're saying. So it's kind of brilliant. I mean, it's the way also that, like, I think in comedy, a lot of comedians, not a lot, but like you can think of like Andrew Dice Clay performing this sort of, you know, asshole reactionary misogynist and then becoming the asshole reactionary misogynist because he sees how much how much traction he's getting by playing this character. So I think for some performers, the line between their character and who they are starts to blend more and more. Anyway, I don't know if that's a circuitous answer to what you're asking, but like, Trump truly should just be an open mic and or just he should just go on the road. Like, he's already on the road. He should just do venues, say everything he wants to say, Like, that's where he belongs, but he happened to be very wealthy and have his last name be Trump.
Yeah. If you were pigeonholed into one story, let's say you covered something, it became wildly popular, and now that's all anybody ever wants to hear from you. What would you choose? Can you choose just
That's the
just
best
one
fucking
topic?
question I've ever that's such a good question.
Oh,
That is
really?
such a good question. Yeah. It is, you know why? Because I'm someone who actually, like, for lack of a better term, like, I can get it up for any story. Like, I
Okay.